Chapter 6. Measuring National Output and National Income. One source of data on the key variables in the macroeconomy is the national income and product accounts. These accounts provide a conceptual framework that macroeconomists use to think about how the pieces of the economy fit together. Gross Domestic Product. Gross Domestic Product, GDP, is the key concept in national income accounting. GDP is the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a given period by factors of production located within a country. GDP excludes intermediate goods. To include goods when they are purchased as inputs and when they are sold as final products would be double counting and would result in an overstatement of the value of production. GDP excludes all transactions in which money or goods change hands but in which no new goods and services are produced. GDP includes the income of foreigners working in the United States and the profits that foreign companies earn in the United States. GDP excludes the income of U.S. citizens working abroad and profits earned by U.S. companies in foreign countries. Gross National Product, GNP, is the market value of all final goods and services produced during a given period by factors of production owned by a country's citizens. Calculating GDP. The expenditure approach to GDP adds up the amount spent on all final goods and services during a given period. The four main categories of expenditures are personal consumption expenditures, C, gross private domestic investment, I, government consumption and gross investment, G, and net exports, XIM. The sum of these categories equals GDP. The three main components of personal consumption expenditures, C, are durable goods, non-durable goods, and services. Government consumption and gross investment, G, include expenditures by state, federal, and local governments for final goods and services. The value of net exports, XIM, equals the differences between exports, sales to foreigners of U.S. produced goods and services, and imports, U.S. purchases of goods and services from abroad. Because every payment, expenditure, by a buyer is a receipt, income, for the seller, GDP can be computed in terms of who receives it as income. The income approach to calculating gross domestic product. GNP minus depreciation is net national product, NNP. National income is the total amount earned by the factors of production in the economy. It is equal to NNP except for a statistical discrepancy. Personal income is the total income of households. Disposable personal income is what households have to spend or save after paying their taxes. The personal saving rate is the percentage of disposable personal income saved instead of spent. Nominal versus real GDP. GDP measured in current dollars, the current prices that one pays for goods, is nominal GDP. If we use nominal GDP to measure growth, we can be misled into thinking that production has grown when all that has happened is a rise in the price level, or inflation. A better measure of production is real GDP, which is nominal GDP adjusted for price changes. The GDP deflator is a measure of the overall price level. Limitations of the GDP concept. We generally think of increases in GDP as good. but some problems arise when we try to use GDP as a measure of happiness or well-being. The peculiarities of GDP accounting mean that institutional changes can change the value of GDP even if real production has not changed. GDP ignores most social ills, such as pollution. Furthermore, GDP tells us nothing about what kinds of goods are being produced or how income is distributed across the population. GDP also ignores many transactions of the informal economy. The concept of gross national income, GNI, is GNP converted into dollars using an average of currency exchange